You're watching this video right now, chances are that you're sitting on a gold mine in terms of VA ratings and you don't even realize it. Most veterans don't realize the untapped potential of their 0% ratings, or even if they don't have any records, and they're just missing the one piece to tie everything together and really break the floodgates. Today, we're unpacking exactly what that is and why you see such a big difference in the tone when people talk about the VA. Normally, typically, a lot of veterans are complaining about the process. Oh, it takes so long, nothing but denials. But then you see VA Claims Academy clients and it's a lot of celebration and the tone is totally different. Today, I'm showing you that there's really no secret to it. It really is knowing a bit about the process and letting someone take over in your corner. So without further ado, let me teach you and show you how to take your 0% ratings, or maybe your low ball ratings, or the fact that you don't have a rating at all and no records, and turn that into a massive VA claim win. I'm Jordan Anderson with VA Claims Academy. Let's get into it. Let me give you a bold claim right off the bat. In my experience, almost any veteran, almost every single one, can win a VA disability rating. It's just varying degrees. But almost every single veteran who've served, especially if you've served for any significance of time, almost every veteran's entitled to a VA rating of some sort. And almost every single case is winnable using these three methods. Let's go through them, and I'm going to show you how this applies to you and your specific VA rating situation, to where you can actually untap the potential that you're sitting on right now without even knowing it. Let me list these out for you, and then we'll break down one by one what each one is. So number one, you want to start easy as possible in this, sort of troubleshooting process. Just like, let's see if I can type or write and spell at the same time while talking. I did it. I'm awesome. Just like you wouldn't start your car and then, maybe it cranks, but the engine doesn't start, the engine doesn't turn over. You wouldn't immediately start buying a new transmission, right? You would start easy. Okay, let's see, let me crank it again, see if that works. Let me check my car battery. Let me check my alternator, something like that. You want to start as easy as possible, and that means presumptive conditions is where we start. I'm going to go through these and then we'll touch on each one after. Second, and this is exciting, secondary claims. When we open the can of worms that secondary claims entails, this is a near infinite flexibility to get you service connected for literally any condition that you're suffering from. So I can't wait to jump into that deeper. Now, number three is a bit more complex. I'm gonna call these semi-presumptives. So now is a perfect time to define, hey, what the heck does presumptive claim even mean? A presumptive claim is something like what we've seen recently with the PACT Act, that's P-A-C-T Act, or perhaps Agent Orange, right? You were exposed to Agent Orange, now you have this type of ailment, and it doesn't even matter if you don't have records from, not going to the doctor during service, like no one went to the doctor during service. You are presumed to be service connected for a certain condition. So if you were exposed to burn pits, right? They were lighting feces on fire in barrels. There was gasoline fires, what have you, while you were deployed downrange. This is all covered, depending on your time in service. This is all covered under the PACT Act as a presumptive condition, meaning if you have COPD, you have asthma, and you were in Southeast Asia at these certain time periods, hey, we're going to cover you. It's automatically approved and service connected. Between that and secondary claims, almost anyone can win a VA rating. Let me show you how, okay? Before we get to that, what does semi-presumptive mean? This expands even further, not just the concrete, explicitly outlined presumptive conditions list, which I'll include in the link in the description of this video for you, by the way. Semi-presumptives means that, hey, you know what? In the real world, VA raters have a little bit of leeway, they have a little bit of say to give their actual opinion on something based on the they say confluence of facts, right? So based on how many facts there are, what your story is, where you're in service, they can kind of make a common sense decision in your favor, right? So why not leverage this? For instance, let's say that you were a small arms, weapons instructor. Now you're showing up and displaying signs of hearing loss, perhaps some ringing in your ears, right? Tinnitus. A rater, even though this is not an explicit presumptive condition, a rater could take the leeway and say, hey, you know what? Exposed to small weapons fire, small arms fire, it makes sense how they could have developed hearing loss, developed tinnitus, even though I don't see anything in their records. Or, hey, they were 11 Bravo, I could see how they could develop a herniated disc, degenerative disc disease, from carrying heavy packs all of the time. They were air assault. I could see how they could develop foot issues from rappelling out of helicopters. I call these the semi-presumptive, aka common sense connections, okay? Let me show you the infinite wellspring that occurs when you take these three aspects, you combine them together and you analyze your own VA rating sort of strategy, your situation. You could piece together a victory if you think creatively and if you're vulnerable enough and honest with yourself enough to realize, yeah, this is probably connected to your service. Let me simulate for you exactly what I mean, and I'll draw it out. This is kind of a realistic scenario. Let's say right now you have tinnitus. So you got ringing or buzzing in your ears and it's not service connected, okay? Let's say you didn't go to the doctor at all during your military service and your service was 35 years ago, which by the way, we've had clients win 30 plus years after being removed from the service. It is possible. It's not very difficult, okay? But you are service connected for, let's say, high blood pressure, okay? And the VA generously gives you a whopping 0% rating for that service-connected hypertension, okay? That high blood pressure. Remember, they denied you for tinnitus already, and you also have migraines, okay? You have migraines, maybe you're taking over-the-counter meds for it. You've probably had them for the last few years, never thought to claim it, all right? And also, the migraines and the tinnitus is really annoying and kind of makes you cranky. This is a very common situation. So you got a 0% rating right now. You're probably thinking, yeah, this is probably just what I got. Maybe I can get a 10%, what have you. Let's piece this together and tell you how I would analyze this using these three, aspects right here. So let's for a second just pretend that maybe there are no presumptive conditions at all. You checked the presumptive conditions list. Yeah, I don't apply, I don't qualify for anything. We'll treat this as an icing on the cake just to keep it as sort of conservative of a strategy or a simulation as possible for you, right? For those of you watching. Secondary claims, that's where we can have some fun. Semi-presumptives, we'll get into that, okay? So the tinnitus, the hypertension at 0%, again, we have migraines. And also, remember, we're cranky. First thing that you need to know is that you have a tremendous opportunity here in that you are already service connected for this hypertension, okay? Being service connected, even at 0%, allows you and affords you so much flexibility in secondary claims. This is a great opportunity to explain briefly what a secondary claim even is. A secondary claim means that you're already service connected by the VA, meaning that you have a rating of 0% or higher. Because vets, having a rating of 0% doesn't mean you were denied. It means you were approved. You're service connected, right, by the VA. But it's just non-compensable, right? It's not compensatable by the VA. A secondary claim means that you can claim a condition secondary to hypertension in this case, because it's rated at 0% or higher, and get a new condition service connected even without, fellow vets, listen to me, without medical records from in-service. What could we possibly get service connected here as a result of hypertension. Well, okay, so if you're a VA Claims Academy client or you just have a really good doctor or something, we would know. We would go into PubMed, we would go into the NIH, and we would go ahead and do some research to pull peer-reviewed literature showing and showcasing that migraines can be triggered by hypertension. We forward that to the doctor. The veteran-friendly doctor says, yep, I see the peer-reviewed literature. My butt is covered. I'm going to go ahead and cite this and give a positive nexus opinion that it's at least as likely as not that your migraines are a result of your service-connected hypertension. Oh, and by the way, we see that you have migraines multiple times per month and that you have to lie down in a dark room, rotate ice packs, and you can't, maybe you sell things on eBay. You can't sell things on eBay during your migraines, therefore it's impacting you financially. That's a 50% rating. Okay, we're just getting started. That's a 50% rating made from a 0% hypertension service connection through a secondary claim. Now, some of you might be asking, what conditions qualify for secondary claims? Any condition, provided that your medical expert gives you that positive nexus opinion. Perhaps they think your tinnitus was caused by your high blood pressure. I don't know, I'm not a doctor, but if they give that nexus opinion, then you have a valid opportunity, a good chance at winning the claim, all right? So just to give you an idea, that's what I'm saying when I'm saying that basically any veteran could win a VA disability claim. If you start from here, any condition can be claimed to any other condition as a secondary claim, provided there's a positive nexus opinion by the medical professional. Okay, fellow vets, if you're getting value from this so far, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button for me. Okay, we have a couple of other things still on the board here. What about the ringing in the ears, right? So what if this was a semi-presumptive, okay? What if you were qualifying on the M16 and the M4, right? Okay, you had M16 qualifications multiple because you were going down range multiple times. Well, you write a quality, excuse me, you write a quality personal statement telling your true story to the VA because you're feeding that VA rater exactly what they need to hear to rate you favorably. You see what I'm saying? You have a story that makes sense. Tell the rater so they can make a common sense yes, approval on your claim. That's our semi-presumptive. Hey, being in the military was really loud. Here's why. And ever since then, I've had this ringing in my ears, but I'll be honest, I never went to the doctor for it until recently. Let's say they give you that. Boom. It's a 10% rating right there, okay? Now what happens? We know this is big, vets. This is where you can really start skyrocketing your VA rating. So listen up here. We know that ringing in your ears, is this annoying or not annoying? It's annoying, okay? Some forms of torture, and a lot of you know this, is in the form of sound, right? So when you're driving through enemy lines and you're playing the loudspeakers of the babies crying over and over and over again, right? That's a form of torture, right? It's loud sound could really drive you nuts, could really drive you nuts. The medical community knows this, they acknowledge this. Therefore, tinnitus, this sound that you cannot get away from because it's in your own head, could that be related to being cranky with your spouse, with your kids, with your grandkids? I could see how a medical professional could think so. Do you see where I'm going with this, vets? So what if this crankiness, you went to the doctor and actually, hey, they say, hey, you're not actually cranky. You've got something called SSD, or somatic symptom disorder. I'm going to clean some of this up here. I know this is messy. You've got something called somatic symptom disorder. What does that mean? That means that your really annoying sound is annoying you. Common sense, right? You see how we're building this based on common sense? And that's how you know that it can work, right? I hope this is resonating with you. You've got something called somatic symptom disorder, which is a diagnosed mental condition, which, by the way, has an average rating, average of 70%. So I cleaned this up for us, right? Let me show you the artistry behind engineering a solid VA claim, which takes your true story and your true suffering that you're dealing with and coping with in silence, convincing yourself that you're fine, convincing yourself that it's not actually related to your military service somehow. And when you're vulnerable enough and honest enough with yourself, which you don't do, by the way, right? Because you've been conditioned to be a warrior, to have service before self, to have your squad mates before self, to have your brother or sister in arms before self. And now it's time to finally have your family before yourself, your loved ones before self, and you're giving them the short end of the stick, right? If you're not being upfront, being honest with yourself, and looking into how to maximize your VA disability rating, which, by the way, you've earned and deserved, but if you're ignoring the fact that you're being diminished, you're doing your loved ones a disservice, right? So let me show you the artistry behind this. You have high blood pressure. Now you're thinking creatively, wow, this 0% rating that I've been taking for granted actually has tremendous value, and here's how. I just went to my neurologist to finally get treated for my migraines, which I've been dealing with the last 15 years, but I've never gone to the doctor for them, right? Just taken what over-the-counter Excedrin, whatever it is over-the-counter you were taking. And they think that my high blood pressure can be a contributor. I just got a Nexus letter, right? Or I had to pay a veteran-friendly doctor at vadisabilitydoctors.com, for example, board certified doctors. You're paying for their time out of pocket. It could get pricey, but in this case, is that worth it? Heck yeah, that's worth it. Okay, link to that is in the description below as well. And the high blood pressure led to us winning this secondary claim for a 50% rating because it's led to that economic inadaptability. Can't sell on eBay when you're on the floor lying down or trying to get a nap. Sleep off the migraine. The tinnitus. You were heavy machinery maintenance, okay? Or maybe you were working on machinery on the boats and it's real loud all the time. Perhaps the 3M earplugs have failed you. And this makes common sense, but you're not relying on the VA examiner to be telepathic, okay? You are bringing your true story and putting it right in front of that VA rater's face through the form of a good personal statement. It's what we do for clients at VA Claims Academy, right? When I approve and have drafted every single personal statement draft for every condition. That's important. Why? Oh, we only won 10%. No. We just won a connection to get this on average 70% somatic symptom disorder, which again is a mental diagnosis. We just won the ability to connect and anchor that to the tinnitus, which is valued at 10%, but we just attached a 70%, boom, right onto it. That's the strategy here. This is how you make sure you're not spinning your wheels, right? We turned a 0% rating. Let's do some math here. 70% plus 50% VA math, that makes 85% plus a 10% that gets absorbed VA math. You're going to get paid a 90% disability compensation pay rate, which right now is, you've just gone, because of this strategy. And again, this is why you see VA Claims Academy clients, the tone is very different because they're making $0 per month for their loved ones. Again, this is who benefits from it. Your loved ones, your family members, you're diminished. This helps take care of them. Now, at the 90% rate, as the time of filming this video, you're making right around $2,300 every single month, tax-free, which, by the way, increases every year with the cost of living, Do normal pensions do that? No, they do not. Normal pensions are also taxed. Normal pensions also don't bring you all the other flood of benefits that comes with being 90%. In addition to perhaps your state has benefits, maybe your property taxes get vastly reduced. This right here is life altering. I have clients who they'll have start at zero, maybe they get 100%, maybe they get $2,300 per month, and they send me videos months later and they're retired somewhere like Dominican Republic. One individual in particular, this guy was a real warrior, super humble, very bad PTSD, and now he's dealing with that very well in the Dominican Republic doing bachata in the sun, okay? That's the type of life-changing outcome that this strategy could have. I really hope that this makes sense, okay? So let's go very back to the top and see what are our core three, then I'll let you go. Presumptive. First thing you want to do, you want to scan. Am I leaving any easy, low-hanging fruit on the table because I just need to file for something that's going to get automatically approved, right? Good saying I just heard of, don't jump over dimes, don't jump over dollars to pick up dimes, right? So you want to go ahead and check first, am I leaving any free money on the table? If the answer is no, okay, do I have any 0% things that are already service connected that I can connect a secondary to? That's huge. We just saw how impactful that could be. And number three, okay, if not, if I don't have any 0%, could I get any 0% through something like a semi-presumptive? Does my story, my true story, make sense? That, hey, I can see how you ended up with flat feet because those combat boots and all those marches. I can see how you ended up with plantar fasciitis. I can see how you ended up with a shoulder injury by carrying heavy ordnance, even though you didn't go to the doctor during service. Don't shortchange yourself. Give yourself a chance. Articulate your true story in the VA's language by using a solid personal statement, and give your loved ones the odds to get compensated for what they deserve. I really hope this helped out, fellow vets. Again, hit that like button for me if this provided you value. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.